Hello, everybody. Amanda Davis here, Avon Independent Sales Representative for New Avon LLC in the United States of America. And this is just going to be a quick video where I talk with you about craft fairs for a second. So I have done several craft fairs, and I started that back in about 2000. I want to say it was 2014 was the first ones that I really did. And basically, craft fairs are going to be usually seasonal events. The big time for them is actually the fall, closer to the holiday season, but you may also sometimes see them in the spring, and then you might every once in a while stumble across them at other times of year. So basically, the way that you're going to find a craft fair is finding local vendor events in your area and people that are looking for craft fair vendors. A lot of times churches or schools. Those are the ones that I usually do, or the churches and the schools. And like I said, a big time to find them is the holiday selling season, around Christmas and Hanukkah and all of that. But I was talking about it this time of year because it was on my mind, and I just wanted to go ahead and get this video done. So, so basically some tips as far as finding them. Like I said, look for places in your area that might be looking to hold a craft fair, such as a school or a church. And then the other thing is to keep in mind that you really should mostly work with what you have. So whether that be brochures, business cards, recruiting tools. You don't want to buy a lot of things specifically for a vendor event. And the reason being because it's hard to really know what people are going to be looking for. I've been at vendor events where bath and body products were a hit, and I was able to sell a lot of what I had. And I've also been at vendor events where maybe jewelry was a hit. And we do have certain products that are popular products, but at the same time, you really truly just never know what things are going to be sellable. So that's why it's important to basically work with the inventory of overstock things that you might have on hand, whether it be something that you purchased for yourself and didn't feel like returning, but maybe you haven't used it yet, or something that a customer for some reason didn't pick up, or they returned and it wasn't used. Or just there's multiple situations where you may end up with an overstock of inventory. Yes, Avon is a business where you don't necessarily need inventory. I mean, obviously, if you're going to be doing a vendor event, most of your money is going to be coming from the on-hand sales of anything that you have on hand. So that is something to keep in mind, particularly with craft fairs, is you really should have something on hand, but just be mindful that you don't want to purchase a whole lot of products up front for a craft fair, not knowing what people are looking for. It would be better to have only a handful of products to sell on hand in your brochures and that kind of information than it would be to have spent $300 on products and then you don't even sell a fraction of that. So the other thing is to keep in mind is if you do decide to go ahead and purchase some things for inventory for a craft fair or another vendor event, that you should go ahead, and if you do not sell it at that event and don't have a plan to sell it past the event, go ahead and return it to Avon. Yes, you're going to be giving up those award sales, heading towards President's Club sales level, but at the same time, that's better than having excess inventory sitting in your closet for months on end that may never end up getting used and you end up tossing it at some point, because then that's money down the drain. So you just don't want that to happen. And so what I have found as far as myself personally that works best, I usually just have one table. I did purchase through Avon a table runner through the Town and Country vendor that we use for our printed materials, which is available under the youravon.com and then your back office, and it's under Avon Advantage is where it is. So I believe you go to youravon.com and then it's the community tab, and then Avon Advantage, I'm pretty sure, is the way to get to it. So that is the Town and Country. They offer tablecloths and table runners and that kind of thing. So I just have a basic black table runner that says Avon on it. And then I purchased from a local store a black tablecloth, and for a long time I was just using the black plastic tablecloths that cost you like $1, and I would use them for the one event and throw them away, or maybe use them for a couple events and throw them away. Particularly when I was doing yard sales, but this video is about craft fairs. And then I did end up actually investing in a table also. But a lot of schools and churches, maybe they might charge you an extra small fee for using their table, or a lot of times a table is included in the fee that they charge to use their space. Usually when a church or a school is doing a craft fair, they're raising money for some kind of cause. And so not only are you getting a space at their event, but you're also helping another local cause. So that's also a good thing to keep in mind. Is particularly if you have a craft fair and you don't really sell much and you don't get many customers out of it, well, at least you donated a decent, or, you know, like $25 to the cause. That's the other thing. When you're looking at events, particularly if you're a newer rep or a representative that you really don't want to invest a lot, or you don't have the money to invest, I would say look for vendor events that are $30 or less. And the reason being because there are so many out there that you can get that are $30 or less. And when you're spending much more than that, a lot of times it may not turn out to be worth it. And you just don't want to end up in the hole spending too much money because you're trying to get your name out there and that kind of thing. But then at the same time, if it's not paying off, it's not paying off and it's not worth it. So that kind of thing is up to you as far as how much you're able to invest in vendor events. But I personally look for things that are $30 or less, and most of the ones that I do are $25. Although that's a standard cost in my area. So as far as craft fairs, that's just some basic tips and things from my experiences. I do believe that they are a great way to get customers, particularly. Sometimes you might be able to get a representative from it as well, because anything that you can do in your community where you're out there and people are seeing your face and people are seeing Avon products in person, you're doing something good for your business and also for the Avon business overall, as far as people realizing that Avon is still around, because you do every once in a while get that there's still Avon, and it's like, yeah, of course, you know. But if people haven't seen an Avon representative or an Avon book in a long time, because a lot of representatives do mostly sell to friends and family, then, you know, so you just never know. So yeah, so those are going to be my basic tips for you for craft fairs: to work with what you have as far as products and supplies. And then to, the other thing too is when you're at the actual event, do be sure to network and talk with people and try to pull people into your table, tastefully, of course. But, you know, when a good thing to do, I've heard, is to stand in front of your table, because then that way when people walk by, you can say, hey, have you seen an Avon brochure lately, and kind of start that conversation. And in a vendor situation like a craft fair, it's perfectly fine to do that direct approach, because they're going to know you're with Avon because of your table, because chances are you're going to have something out there that says Avon. And so you may as well cut to the chase and just be like, hey, you know, good morning. And, you know, and maybe even go ahead and introduce yourself as far as my name. So like I would say, my name is Amanda and I'm an Avon representative in your area. And I would like, you know, are you currently being serviced by a representative? You can always start out that way, would be a good way. And then they may say, yes, I already have one. And you can just say, well, thank you for supporting Avon, and let them go on their way. Or they might say, no. You know, and they could possibly say, no, I'm not interested in Avon products. And then you might say, at that point, if they're still going to talk to you, you may say, well, have you seen an Avon brochure lately? But if they seem like they're really just not interested, it's usually best to just let them go on, because you don't want to push somebody that's really not interested. And the thing about craft fairs is sometimes people are looking for more unique things, handmade things, that kind of thing, since it is a craft fair after all. And so they're not always interested in the direct sales things that we have to offer, not just Avon, other businesses as well, because they're looking for specific crafts. But sometimes maybe that particular day they don't want to buy, but they'll go ahead and take your information and purchase from you later. Like, I know I did a vendor event, and I want to say it was one of the ones that I did in 2014. I think it was. And so that event was in November. And somebody from that event called me in February to order, and she had had my information from the event. So that just really goes to show that you never know when somebody may end up following up with you for an order. So it is important to definitely get your information out to people, even if they just see, I'll say if they seem the least bit interested, because if they just seem like they're totally not interested, like I said, it's best to just let them be. But at the same time, the people that are talking to you, you know, you may be able to go ahead and bring them around to at least taking a brochure from you. Particularly with our things like Avon Living that people may not be familiar with. And then also just pointing out that we do offer clothes and shoes and that kind of thing, because a lot of times people don't think about that either. And so definitely just keep that in mind. So as far as wrapping this up, and my basic tips again are going to be to work with what you have, not necessarily, so that's the first one. Do not necessarily invest a lot in new things for the event. And then also when you're at the event, to make sure that you are taking advantage of the networking opportunity and getting as much interaction at the event as you can. And then I just thought of something, but it's trying to go away. um, so yeah, so I'm gonna just stick with those are my three basic tips as far as a event for doing craft fairs. Oh, the other thing is craft fairs are a great place to try to sell baskets. And the reason I say that is because a lot of times, again, particularly at the holiday season, people are looking for giftables, and gift baskets are a great way to sell a multitude of products. And, you know, say you have some that I do are a lot of might be a body spray, shower gel, and body lotion. And you're going to sell that for just above your cost. So you're still making a little bit of profit, and maybe a little bit more than that given the time that it took you to put the basket together. But say you might do something like that for $10. And, you know, so you're not going to make a lot of money off of that, but people are looking for those $10 gifts, you know, and so they might say, hey, I want that basket, because they might have somebody that might need some kind of gift basket like that for any occasion, not just the holiday season. But yeah, so craft fairs are a good place if you're looking to try to sell baskets, versus the individual items. Although I will say things like our lip balms, it did sell very well for me individually. Although now, of course, we pretty much are down to, well, we're down to the moisture therapy lip balms, and then we have the true color lip balms that have the color. So that may not necessarily be something that you would sell individually. Of course, the moisture therapy, I would say that that would probably go still pretty well individually, because people like the fact that it's unflavored, unscented, and it's just a basic lip balm. And men and women might be interested in getting it because of that factor, that it's not, you know, a man's not going to smell like a woman using it, because everybody needs lip balm. So yeah, but again, you know, you just never really know what people are going to be out there looking for. And so it's best to work with what you have. And so I'm going to go ahead and sign off for this video. Say thank you so much for watching, and do feel free to subscribe to live notifications. And if you're watching this replay on my YouTube channel, to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do these tip videos every once in a while. And I also have some tip things on my blog. And so I am definitely just looking to, you know, share my knowledge and experience with share my knowledge and experience with other Avon representatives and also other direct sellers, because some of these tips that I'm telling you here in this video are not just Avon. I mean, I made this video as an Avon representative, but any direct selling company, you're having to deal with the fact that you don't want to have a lot of extra inventory, that you don't want to, like I said, that you want to make sure you're taking advantage of that face-to-face interactions, and just making sure that if you don't end up selling what you're anticipating you're going to sell, that you don't let yourself be stuck with excess products that sit in your closet all the time. I mean, it's fine if you purchase you know, say you have a set amount that you know you can purchase, and you purchase that amount, and you have that inventory, and then besides that one vendor event, you continue doing other vendor events, and you might eventually deplete that inventory, and that's fine. But again, if you don't have a particular plan to try to get rid of that inventory, it's better to send it back than have it sitting in your closet and, you know, running down time or whatever the case is, depending on what your products are. Of course, some people might have products that don't necessarily expire per se, but at the same time, you still don't need all that extra stuff collecting dust in your apartment or house. So, but anyway, so thank you again for watching, and I hope you found this video helpful, and I will see everybody next time with my next video. Bye, guys. Thanks again.